In our Off the Radar segment tonight, we're going to focus on bathrooms for girls in schools in India. Nearly half of the country's schools have no toilets for girls. 1 in 4 have no restrooms at all for either sex. That has caused a lot of young women to drop out. And last year, the Prime Minister of India said he was going to fix the problem. Faiz Jamil went to a school in New Delhi to see if things have improved.
They're learning the basic lessons. Now these students can also take care of their basic needs at school, thanks to this newly built toilet courtesy of the Indian government. It doesn't look like much more than a hole in the ground with walls and plumbing, but it's making a world of difference at this school. Neha says the old toilet was unusable at times, but this new one is even better than the one she has at home.
The toilet before this didn't always have running water. This one does. The old toilet smelled really bad, but not this one. It also has a proper wash basin, unlike the old toilet.
School officials say the grant from the government to build a new toilet also means students don't skip class.
Girls had to go home to use the toilet before. That's why we needed one here, so they wouldn't have to leave school during the day. Girls have really benefited from this.
It's a different story several kilometers away, at another school in the same district. Here, there are separate toilets for girls, but a lack of maintenance make them less than ideal to use. Many existing toilets in government schools are in this kind of condition, or worse, with unreliable plumbing and smelling of sewage. Some organizations that for years have been building separate toilets for girls say the government's pledge is the right idea, but hard to achieve in a year. Sanitation experts say another year is needed to ensure no schools are left out and to guarantee the quality of construction. They say the Prime Minister's support has made a noticeable difference.
I never saw high officials running from this post, pillar to post, to get a toilet built in the schools. Everyone is trying hard to do it at the earliest. So on the one hand, it is encouraging that it is being built and taking interest, and that's important. But I certainly agree that there should be more time for the completion.
Studies show female attendance increases at schools that have a clean, separate toilet for them, meaning the drive to finish building the rest and maintain them has as much to do with education as it does with sanitation. Faiz Jamil, Al Jazeera, Panipat District, Haryana.
Dr. Devi who was an assistant professor at the NYU School of Medicine. She's with us in studio. Dr. Devi, thanks for being with us. How much of a public health issue are we talking about, this lack of toilets or restroom facilities for girls?
Well, this is huge because it's not just about the toilet bowl itself, right? It's not about the convenience. It's about the entire system. So the plumbing and just this whole method of removing waste, right? So it's hard for us here in this country to imagine, I think, but if you even imagine just getting a regular diarrheal illness here, right? It puts you out for a week and then maybe you need another week to kind of recover and get back to your full strength. So for people in India with these diarrheal illnesses, let's say you're exposed to bad water and all of this stuff from the poor sanitation, think about how much productivity you lose just in terms of your work, right? It's more than just those few weeks. And for kids in school, if you can't go to school, how are you supposed to get ahead? You know, imagine trying to learn how to read and learn these basic skills when you're not even able to attend.
It's hard to understand. It's hard to grasp the tremendous social implications from something just as simple as not having restroom facilities.
Sure, of course. I mean, so I think about it just in terms of attendance at school, right? Or even the productivity, what you would be able to learn. But then we think about also the deaths, right? We don't see that as much here, but there, if you get a diarrheal illness and you have problems getting clean water, I mean, over 500,000 people die per year just from the diarrheal illnesses. And then when you think about kids, just in terms of brain development and physical development, if you have this type of problem, you might not be getting the nutrients you need. So this is a huge problem over there. And the fact that they're focusing on kids in school, I mean, I think they're looking at other things as well, privacy and maybe gender inequality as well as income inequality. But, you know, it spans across the whole social structure.
I remember looking at the National Institutes of Health in this country back in the 1980s and realizing that most of the research involved men. The fact that most of the restrooms that are lacking in India, is that an indication of the degree of sexism that we still see in the rest of the world?
Well, It could be, I mean, possibly, but it's hard to know because if you think about it just in terms of this country, even if I go to certain parts of the VA hospital where I used to work, you know, you'll see more men's bathrooms or restrooms than you do women's.
And women have been complaining about the same problem inside stadiums for the last two decades.
Exactly. So you'll see that. I mean, so it depends how you want to measure sexism, but I do think in India there's a couple other problems. So for girls in school, I mean, they have to worry about their menses, they have to worry about all kinds of other things. So the fact that there's no restroom there or bathroom there may prevent you from going to school. On top of that, you add the privacy issues. I mean, we hear a lot about people being worried about sexual assault and other things. So if there's no bathroom and you have to go, what are you supposed to do? So it might be more of a factor there. I mean, it's hard to kind of elaborate or draw too much from it, but the thing is, it's definitely an issue that's keeping all of these kids from getting the most they could out of school.
This would seem to be something simple to fix. We were talking about it in the commercial break.
Sure.
People are screaming at the television right now, yelling porta potties. Why can't it just be something that simple?
Of course, well, I would hope that it could be, but even with a porta potty, you know, you have the actual, it's the same thing as the bowl, right? You have the actual supply that you have to get and the money invested in it, but even with a porta potty, you have to somehow clear it and remove it. And then you also have to think about like the campaign to get people to use everything properly the way that it's supposed to. So I think there's a few different issues. I mean, I've seen ideas thrown out that, you know, maybe there's not enough clean water to actually flush away the waste. Well, maybe that's an issue. You hear about problems in terms of toilets being built, but they're not at the same pace that the population is growing. So it's not able to keep up with the growing population.
Dr. Devi, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Nice talking to you.